Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Yep, I'm back after the bye, after the London game. We had some time off. The Bears had some time off to rest their bodies, rest their minds, and get ready for the next half of this season, which is going to be the next 11 games are going to be very tough. No doubt about it. And we're starting this Sunday in Washington. And that game, I'm sure you know, has been changed from noon in Chicago time to 3:25 Chicago time. So just in case you haven't heard that. So yes, we're back after the bye, and we're going to talk some Chicago Bears. I'm going to give my usual information I give before the game, and then we'll talk about how the Bears are going to win the game. But just a few things I wanted to give out, a couple shout outs to some watchers out there. I have a couple friends that live a lot of their time in Palm Springs. They live in California and LA and Palm Springs. And Stan, this is for you. My buddy Stan said, I've never really watched football until I started watching your show, and now I like football. Right on, Stan. I like it. So you just keep on watching it, and I'm glad that I turned you on to football, and thank you so much, you and Peggy, for watching. I love you guys. And this shout out goes to a special lady. This was really cool. So yesterday I had a rough last weekend, some personal stuff, and then something happened to my, if you're a show watcher, you know that last November I had a complete knee replacement on my knee that's already had. So it's the third major surgery that I've had on that poor little knee. And everything went well. I was doing really great until a week ago and something happened. And so I had to go see my orthopedic surgeon yesterday. We're trying to figure it out. He thinks I might have torn a tendon under the knee that's still there that wasn't replaced. So now I got to wear this stupid giant brace for 2 weeks. So uncomfortable. And then we're going to go from there. So anyways, but I'm here to do the show, just because my leg is in this, I'm short. And so when they put a brace on you that's like that long, when you're short, it's like that long because it pretty much covers your whole leg. It's really uncomfortable. So your show announcer's on IR. But anyways, so I go into the orthopedic surgeon's office. I go to check in, and this wonderful woman checks me in. Her name is Amanda T. Hello, Amanda. And she says to me, I go, I'm here for an appointment with doctor, and I name the name, and she goes, you're the Chicago Bears lady. And I'm like, how did you know that? And she said, well, over a year ago, I told you my husband was from Chicago, and he's a Bears fan. You told me you did a show. And so she's been watching my show since I told her. She goes, I think I watch it more than my husband does, but so cool to walk in. She made my week. I got to tell you, Amanda T., you rock. Keep on watching me. I appreciate that. And get your damn husband to watch. So special shout out to her. Thank you. You really made my day. So anyway, so we're getting to the game. So as I was saying, the Bears have 11 games left, and 6 of the games are with their division. And the other games are Washington, which is Sunday, Arizona, not real worried about them, New England, not worried about them, 49ers, worried, Seahawks, worried. It's going to be a tough schedule, so that means the Bears, it's really going to show us where the Bears are at in the process of improving, so that next year, in my opinion, I know everybody thinks they're going to go to the playoffs this year, and they might, but they're not winning the Super Bowl. I'm saying next year in 2025, they're going to win this. They're going to the Super Bowl. So, but let's see. We'll know after these games each week. We're going to know the progression of how they've been doing, because the first half of the season, they played easy teams. And they actually should be 5-2. Or 5-1, excuse me, because they should have beaten Indianapolis. We all know that. So, but let's not try to beat that dead horse. But it's going to be tough, everybody. So let's get into it a little bit. So the Bears in Washington have played 53 times, including 7 postseason games. Washington is leading by a couple games. The Bears have won 25, and the Commanders have won 27 with one tie. So they're pretty much equal there. Okay, so let's get into the stats that I usually tell you the week before the game, and little stats to compare. So the overall, I always do this. So the overall for the Bears passing percentage is it's 196.7 yards. We average a game. That puts us 22nd in the league. Washington is averaging 218.7. That puts them 13th in the league. Beat us there. Our run game, we're just starting to get it going, but this week is going to be very important because you just listen to this stat. So the Bears are averaging 104.8 yards a game rushing. That puts them 25th out of 32 teams. Washington is averaging 165.4 yards. That puts them third in the league. Beat us there again. So they can run the ball. They can pass it, but they most definitely can run it. Points scored, the Bears are averaging 24.7. That puts them 12th in the league. Here's another one. Washington is averaging 31.1. That puts them first in the league. Yeah, so they can play. Points allowed and by our defense. This is the only category we beat them. Bears defense is averaging 16.8 points a game. That puts them fifth. Washington is giving up 21.7. That puts them 15th. So it's not much, but you can see they have got a very good team. And they are, what are they? I meant to say that. They are 5-2. So they haven't had a bye yet, so they're 5-2. So okay, so then let's compare our quarterbacks, running backs, and pass receiving. Williams, our awesome rookie quarterback, has 1,317 yards total thrown this year. He has 9 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, so that's good. It's a good ratio. I'd like to see more touchdowns and less interceptions. He's been sacked 20 times, and he has rushed for 169 yards. And he was picked number 1 in last year's draft. Jalen Daniels, is the quarterback for the Washington Commanders, and he was picked number 2. Right behind Cabe. So Daniels is having a heck of a rookie season. He's passed for 1,410 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns with 2 interceptions. That's not bad. He's been sacked 15 times. He has rushed for 372 yards, and he has 4 touchdowns on those rushing yards. This kid is got a dual threat. I mean, Cabe, our quarterback, will run if necessary, obviously 169, but Daniels has got 372, and I don't believe he played last week because he got hurt last week, and he only played half the game because he has hurt ribs. So, but the kid can play. So this is going to be real interesting. But the one thing that Daniels has that Cabe, our quarterback, does not, he has an offensive line. And offensive lines, like if you watched that game last night, which I did not see coming, the Rams just put it to Minnesota. But when Minnesota's offensive lineman, one of their best offensive linemen, went down in the second quarter, I think, early second quarter, everything changed for the quarterback. All of a sudden, the Rams were getting to him. This just shows you how important offensive linemen are. And only one guy went out, and it changed the course of that game. I did not see it. But one of the coolest things in that game that happened is I only love them when either we do them or they get done to other teams, is there was a do 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 do. Do. Safety. I always do that. Now, if you're old, you know what that music is from. I'm not going to tell you unless you know. You might have to look it up, but it's from an old TV show that was on in the late 60s and early 70s. It was a comedy. But yes, that's safeties. I love the thing that they do to say it's a safety. It was great. But yeah. So Minnesota losing actually helps the Bears. Any little help will take. So, okay. So we don't know what the quarterbacks. And then our rush game, number 4, Swift, is got 325 yards, 3 touchdowns. And as I said, next in line would be our Cabe. He's got 169 yards rushing. Number 23, Johnson, has 89 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. So, and then let's see what they have. So their running backs, Robinson, their leading running back, has 396 yards, 6 touchdowns. Daniels, I told you he's at 372 with 4 touchdowns. That's their quarterback. And then Eckler has 188 yards rushing with 1 touchdown. So Robinson is going to be, we're going to have to concentrate on the running back, Robinson, and the Bears defense is going to have to contain Daniels if he plays. Right now, on Wednesday and Thursday, he did not practice. They hadn't listed their injuries as of showtime today, so I don't know. But regardless whether he plays or not, the second string is good. They've got a good team, period. Offense, defense, they've got a really, really good team, and it's at home. So, okay, so our top receiving is our number 2, Moore, with 314 yards with 3 touchdowns. Komet, our awesome tight end, has 289 yards receiving with 3 touchdowns. Rome number 15 has 246 yards with 1 touchdown. And then Swift, our running back, number 4, has 193 yards rushing. So, receiving for Swift, and Swift does them both. He does the running and the he has receiving yards. So he's a kind of a all-purpose guy, a little bit of everything. Their top receivers are McCullen, and he has 454 yards passing yards with 4 touchdowns, and Irk, their tight end, has 268 yards with 1 touchdown. So, and Allen. I didn't tell you Allen's stats for the Bears, number 13. Allen, he's finally been playing again, so he has 122 yards passing yards with 2 touchdowns. So, we spread it around. It looks like Washington contains it to a couple players. I mean, there was other players, but they had low yards. So, we'll finish these stats, but you're seeing a trend here, right? So the Bears, let's compare the defenses. The Bears have 18 sacks. Washington have 19 sacks. This is the only time we beat them. The Bears have 7 interceptions defense-wise, and Washington has 3. Bears have 8 forced fumbles and recovered 6 of those 8. Washington forced 8 forced fumbles, but they only recovered 3 out of those forced fumbles. So the defense are pretty much, except for the interceptions, they're all pretty much equal. So so you've seen the stats, and I'm going to give you, because this is the second half now, and we're going into a lot of tough games, I'm just going to give you a couple of things real quick. I like seeing this. So the guy about the defense who is leading the team with tackles is T.J. Edwards, with 27 solo tackles. Sacks, Dexter Sr. has 4. And he's leading the team with 4. And I throw in a new segment called Sort of an Interesting Fact. I throw them in on every show. You never know where it's going to be, but today's has to do with sacks. Who has the most sacks to date? And right now, no one's even close. Bruce Smith, who played for the Bills from 1985 to 2003, has 200 sacks. Reggie White played for Green Bay and the Eagles, and he played from 1985 to 2000, and he comes with 198. So him and Bruce Smith are actually really there, because Bruce Smith played 3 more years than Reggie did. But yeah. So that's my little, and I think the closest I look was, I forget who it is, but they have 126. So they're not close yet. So I don't know if that'll ever be broken, but that is your sort of interesting fact for the day. Gotta have some fun, right, people? Okay. Jalen Johnson, he is leading our team with interceptions. He has 2. We've got 4 touchdowns on defense. Stevenson, our number 25, Stevenson, he has one. He's returned one for a touchdown. Pass breakups, Stevenson again, number 29, has 5 pass breakups. Fumbles, we have Billings, Brisker, Edmonds, Edwards, Hardy, Sweat, and Taylor all have fumbles. So that's awesome. So the defense, you can see people are just really contributing, and this is good. So it's so important for the defense to be playing really, really well. So let's get into so that's statistics and facts I've given you. Now we'll talk about what I think. Well, first I'm going to do a comment segment. So I saw this. I thought this was really good. Comment, our tight end, said that the Bears' margins are going to get thinner and thinner as they get into this difficult part of their schedule. He is right. The team, and especially the offense, has to play air-free football on Sunday. No stupid mistakes or penalties. The O-line has to have their best game to the season already, which isn't asking a lot because they haven't had good games, but they really have to step up. And there's no injuries that are on the offensive line this week. None. We're going to talk about the injuries in a minute, but they've got to give Cabe time to be able to see the field and release that ball and open up holes for the running game. The running game is going to be huge this week because of, as I always tell you, it's all quarterbacks, especially a rookie quarterback's best friend, the running game. You get that running game going, you're getting chunks of yards, you're getting first downs, you're keeping their offense off the field, and you're keeping their defense, and you hopefully, the goal is to wear them down by the fourth quarter and just keep pounding them. So each week after the last 2 or 3 weeks, our running game has gotten going, but it's not there yet. I don't think so. I think Swift and Johnson, and I'd like to see Herbert in there more, really need to. And I think you might see maybe Johnson and Herbert in there a little bit more because they are big power backs and they can move the line, where Swift is more of a, get into the hole and take off. He doesn't move the line backwards at all. He gets touched, he goes down. So running game, so important. Another thing that Cabe was in the news for this week, or Comment, our tight end, is he won an award. If you remember in the last game, after the first quarter, our long snapper got hurt, so Comment had to become the long snapper besides the tight end, and he was the long snapper. He had 2 touchdowns, and he was the long snapper for the extra points on both touchdowns. So this is what Clement said. Clement said there will be some pretty pissed off long snappers throughout the league after this week and this award. Clement was named NFC Special Teams Player of the Week last week for stepping in for Daly against the Jags, who went down hurt. He is the first NFL long snapper to win the award, which he joked which will suddenly annoy regular NFL long snappers. No one's ever won it before, but he did. He's like, but yeah, I'll take it. It's pretty cool, and obviously a cool award to get regardless. It kind of makes that day even a little bit more memorable. So he's funny, though, but I like what he said, how it's going to piss off all the long snappers. Oh, I am sure his name was being mentioned, and it wasn't for the good things. You know what I mean? So, all right, so we're going to talk about the Bears' injuries first. Washington has some, as I said, their quarterback did not play Wednesday or Thursday. He's got sore ribs. I bet this kid plays on Sunday, but regardless, it's going to be a tough game either way because I saw their backup play last week and he did pretty darn good. But you never know with our defense. So let's talk about we have 2 major injuries. Brisker, number 9, our backfield, had a concussion and didn't even go to London. He's still fighting that. He is out. And so is number 6, Gordon, who got hurt during the London game with a hamstring. He is out. These 2 are our backfield golden boys. They are not playing in this game, and that is a huge problem for the Bears defense. Now, I know the backups played pretty darn well against the Jags for Gordon and Brisker in that game. But again, it's the Jaguars, and they're not good. So this will be a real test because obviously I told you where these guys are in passing and scoring. They're number one in scoring defense, and they're really good in passing and running, but it's more the passing game. And these two are going to be greatly missed for this game because they're so good. And Brisker, he is always all over the field. So I think him or Gordon is going to be missed the most, but both of them miss out. So the backups are going to have to really step up and play a damn good game. So really, as I told you, the stats-wise, Washington on paper is going to beat the Bears. It is just a fact. Now, this is what the Bears do. And one thing that I said earlier in the thing about the big difference between their offense and our offense is they've got an offensive line and a running attack. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to run that. They know that the Bears defense has struggled against the run. That's the one thing they struggle against, but they've gotten better the last couple weeks. But again, look who we played, Rams and Jags, even though the Rams looked pretty good last night. But so Washington defense is going to have to really step up because Washington is going to come out running. Now, or you could have the complete flip side is they say, okay, Chicago Bears think because we're such a great running team, we're going to come out running. So let's totally throw them off their game plan and come out passing. Now that could happen too. So it's one or the obviously it's one or the other. Pickled. But you know what I mean. They could go with, okay, let's start running it down jamming it down their throats, or let's throw them off and throw pass, and see how the Bears line up and what their thought on this game and their preparation was for this game. So that's what they're going to do. Obviously, their defense has to stop us. I think they have a better shot at stopping our defense because of our line. The one thing is Washington has, as I mentioned earlier, they have a good offensive line. And again, our line has to play their game. So offensively, to win this game, the offense, obviously, the line's got to step up, give Cabe time to scan the field. We've got to get some long passes going so we can score. They got to try to score early in this game, I think the Bears do. It would really behoove themselves if they were in the lead, if they got in the lead first and stayed in the lead, so that Washington is always playing catch-up, because the Bears are not good at playing catch-up. They're just not. And I'm not talking ketchup and mustard. Boom, boom. I'm not really sure why I said that, but it was funny. So the offense, yes, line, Cabe has got to hang on to that ball. Cabe's got to watch out for sacks because they have 19. They can, that defense can play. He cannot turn the ball over. He's got to be smart. If he can't find a place to do that, take that ball, throw it out of bounds. Don't take the sack, and don't make a decision that's going to turn the ball over. Our running attack, well, you know what I say every week, that has to improve, and it has to improve again, which is going to be tough because, our defense hasn't been stellar in that department, and their running attack is third in the league, so our defense is really going to be pushed to the limit, but we're still talking offense. So it would really be good if we could get that rush game going. Again, our wide receivers and tight ends just have to be smart and be aware. I saw this quite a bit I saw it in a couple games last Sunday where the wide receivers are so smart that, they run their routes and then they turn around and they're like, oh no, and their quarterback's running around. So the wide receivers, and I've seen Moore do this more than anybody, and I think Komet too, but they've got to be ultra aware of what's going on with Cabe, see if they need to come back and help him or go somewhere else, get free, and he sees them. They have got to really help their quarterback. They have got to really step up. Our receivers, wide receivers, except for Rome, number 15, and our tight ends are all seasoned NFL players, and they really need to show it to help their quarterback. So that's pretty much what we do. And the offense cannot have any stupid ass plays. I'm hoping he calls a smart game, the offensive coordinator, and no freaking dumb penalties that push you backwards. The Bears offense cannot handle any negative plays on Sunday. I mean, you never want them, but particularly when you're playing a really, really good team like Washington, you've got to avoid the dumb mistakes and the dumb penalties. You want to be moving forward, not backwards. You know what the Bears need to do? Get on that field, rush the ball, give Cabe time, and score points. And I think if they can stay in the lead, if they get on the board first and stay ahead, they might have a chance in this game. But they've got to play perfectly. Now our defense, as I said, are going to have a rough day because their rush attack is third in the league and they're fifth in the league on scoring points. So this is now how we're going to see what our the Bears are fifth in allowing points defensive. The Washington is number one in scoring points. So the defense, as you see, so they're third in rush, first in scoring, and the Bears are fifth in allowing points. So something's going to give, but on paper, the favor looks like it's Washington. So now our defense has got to be like our defensive line. It's got to start there. I'd like to see Sweat and oh my God, I forgot his name. Oh well. Again, pickle. I had a few cocktails last night. Whoops. Anyways, so Sweat and I just can't think of his name. His opposite guy. They have got to try to get in there and rush the quarterback. Now, they're probably going to double cover Sweat because, remember, Sweat came from Washington. They know his capability. We got him in the middle of the season last year from Washington, so they know who they're facing. So they're probably going to double cover him. So everybody else is going to have to step up. All those other players I showed you who have fumbles, Billings, and Brisker's not in the game. Edmonds. So it starts with the defensive line. If they can stop that run initially, it's going to help the linebackers and the backfield. But if we can get some kind of a stop on the offensive line or defensive line initially, that'll help the rush against Washington. And we got to get some sacks. We got to get in this kid. If he plays, the rookie, we got to get in his face, make him make some mistakes. He is still a rookie, even though he's having a great year, but he really is. So it starts with the D-line. Then you got your linebackers who've been playing fairly well. I got to tell you, our linebackers leading solo tackles. So they've got to be solid because if that defensive line cannot stop that rush, then and now it becomes the middle guys, the linebackers, to stop that rush. You don't want that running back to get to the backfield. You don't want him to get to our safeties. If our safeties are having to stop him in the backfield, it's going to be a long, long day for the Bears defense and the Bears team. So, especially when we're missing two key players on the backfield of the Bears. So the defense, as I said, so you got your defensive line, got to try to initially stop the rush. If not, then the linebackers are going to have to pick it up so that we don't allow first downs all the time. And then you've got your backfield. Of course, he can pass the shit out of the ball, so then that's when our backfield becomes very important, and missing two is going to hurt. But the backups, this is your chance to shine. Now, you did very well in London, but it was the Jaguars, okay? So everyone's got to play 100% their position, smart football. No dumb penalties on defense either, which they've been pretty good. It's mostly been the offense with the stupid penalties. They've got to get after these guys, and they've got to keep the points down. They got to do anything. It's going to be a really tough game for the defense. It's going to be a tough game, period, but the defense particularly, I think, is going to be I just hope that they can handle what's going to be thrown at them because it's going to be a tough game. It really, really is. So they all have to have perfect games. They have to play their positions, be smart. Let's get some turnovers. I'm going to predict, I've been right the last couple weeks, but this is a whole nother game. I'm going to predict 3 sacks. Now, you know what? I'm going to predict 2 sacks because this is a very good offensive line, so I probably won't get that, but I'm going to say 2 sacks and 1 turnover. And let's see if we can pull those out. And that's the thing. The defense has to keep doing that because they've been causing a lot of turnovers, and that has been in the Bears' favor because turnovers, I'm going to talk about in a second, is my threes. And I always say this, you win the threes, you're close in the threes, or you're winning them, you're going to win that game. Or you're close to winning that game. So time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. Time of possession, I say it all the time, is huge to win. The Bears this season have been winning them, but just barely when they won those games. It's been interesting. But the time of possession keeps your offense on the field, their defense on the field. It keeps your defense off the field and their offense off the field. So you want to win that time of possession. Turnovers, well, that's obvious. Turnovers can change a game from night to day like that. The Bears have been doing it. They lead them in turnovers, Washington. So we do have that, but turnovers, as it's been helping this year, which is something the Bears offense hasn't done in the last few years, is when the Bears defense did get a turnover, if they didn't score, which they've done once themselves, they get the offense to go back out there, and this year the offense is scoring points off of the defense's turnovers, which in the past they have not been doing that the last 3-4 years. So now we're doing it. So the Bears defense, if you can get that ball back to your offense, you'll be helping them a lot. Plus, it messes up the other team and it gets in their head, especially if you get Daniels, their young rookie quarterback, to throw an interception or get him to fumble the ball while you're trying to sack him or whatever. You can get in his head, and that's when you can start dominating. And then penalties. I say 5 or less penalties. You should not have more than 5 penalties per game. I hate penalties. The Bears are not good, especially offensively, when they have to go backwards. Sometimes they start and immediately it's 1st and 15. So now you have to change your game plan because now you have 5 extra yards you're counting for on that game sheet when you're looking on the sheet for all the play calling. Now you got penalties, and they are just stupid ass. They're just stupid because they are unnecessarily so smart, penalty-free game will really help the Bears. So I pretty much told you what's going to happen. I mean, we all know it. I mean, every team, including the Bears, has to have their best game every Sunday. We know that. But this one in particular, because it's the hardest team to date the Bears have faced. These guys have a winning record. They're 5-2, and they're in the top echelon on passing and rushing and defense. So, hands down, hardest team the Bears have played to date, and we will see how far they've come. Now, if the Bears lose this game, it's not the end of the world, because then we play Arizona. I know we play Arizona after them, and I don't know how it goes after that. But and then I think we start playing our division, which our division is really good this year, all of them. So it's going to be tough. So it would be nice to start out the second half of the season for the Bears with a W, no doubt about it, and be 5-2 rather than 4-3. But it's not the end of the world if they do lose. I don't want them to lose, but I'm just giving you the facts. On paper, don't look good. But you know that means nothing when they come out of that tunnel on Sunday and they're on the field, because any team can be beaten on any given Sunday. I don't care who you are. It's a fact. So we just got to hope now that they come out. Everybody else is rested except for our 2 guys. We have no other injuries. So Brisker and Gordon, God bless you guys. Get healthy for next week. We need you back. So, I mean, there could be, you never know, maybe they usually, if you don't practice on Friday, you don't play on Sunday. Now, if I don't see Gordon because his is a hamstring, but if Brisker all of a sudden tomorrow passes concussion protocol, you never know. They might throw him in, but I'm not really counting on it. So get healthy, you two, and get back. And Bears, I told you what they need to do. And we all got to just put on whatever's lucky. Any kind of shirt that you have won and the Bears have won when you wore it, put it on. Anything. Because we need to bring a victory home. So, you know what? They've gotten better each week. So this is a big step, especially coming off a bye. You know, usually teams, not usually, always teams want to win after your bye, and most people expect them to win after a bye because they've had that rest. But, You just don't know. We've still got our problems. We've got a young quarterback. We've got no offensive line. So everything else has to be picked up. So all three aspects, including the kicking game, has got to be on par, 110% for a W on a Sunday. Okay, I'm going to stop because I've gone way over. But then I didn't do a show on Monday or last Friday, so that allows me to go over. Yeah! So anyways, I think you get it. So I'm going to end my show like I always do. Thank you for watching my show. I appreciate it. It really makes me feel good. I mean, just like when I walked into the doctor's office yesterday. I know I have a good friend who watches the show, and she's from Vegas, but now I have another couple people watching the show. And it was pretty cool to say, hey, you're the Bears lady. You bet I am. So thank you again, and thank everybody for watching. It really does mean a lot that you turn me on. And I appreciate it. And Bears fans, they rock. They're very cool. Oh, here's the thing too. I don't know if you guys heard this. All right, I'm going to throw it in. Who cares? Bryan Cranston, you know him. He played on Malcolm in the Middle, the father. And then he was in that show about drugs. You know which one I'm talking about. I can't think of the name of it. But he made a bet. He was in Chicago doing the week that the Bears played the Rams. And he was doing some promotional work, or actually I think it was for a charity. He was in town, and he made a bet with somebody on the Bears who likes the Bears that the Rams would win, and if they didn't, he would donate $10,000. Well, the Rams lost, so he just sent this week a check to $10,000 to the Bears Care organization. Is that cool? He's like, hey, it goes to charity, and I lost. Right on, Brian. So that's cool. Anyways, so be kind, love one another. Let's stick together. It's tough out there. 10 days left to the election or something like that. I cannot wait for this thing to be over. I am so over it. Isn't this like the longest election cycle we've ever had for president? So respect one another, smile at people, help them out, and remember, words matter and words hurt. You say something to somebody, you cannot take those words back, especially if it's in writing. So think of that before you speak. If you're not sure, just take a minute and think. But just let's all get along. That's what's important here. We all know Bears fans do. So that's it. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful weekend. And we need to bring home a W, our Bears. Come on now. I mean, if they win on Sunday, I think I might open a bottle of champagne, even though I don't even like champagne. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Go Bears. Bring us a victory, because everybody wants to hear the victory song from me on Monday, because I know they do. So, go Bears, and as always, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. Bears.